Hello everyone, insurance expert. Once again, we are continuing with our senior ones, people who are joining secondary school this February of 2023. Those who planned with me 7 years back, like I said before, they are not suffering. They're not feeling anything. If at all that they are just thinking that, you know what, when is that day when we and the children can report to our school of choice, because the money is there. UAP, if at all, UAP has already also paid to those particular schools' accounts, and they are okay. Now, that particular parent who has now started accessing school fees from UAP this year, what I have done for them, of course, we continue. The journey is still on. We saved for 7 years. That time the child was in P1, now finished P7. Now that parent has started accessing the school fees. But the struggle is still ongoing. So now that child who has joined senior one this year, 2023, has 6 years in secondary school, because after 6 years from now, the child will be joining university. When will be that? This is 2023 plus the 6 years. That is 2029. My dear, we shall still be here. Now, of course, what I'm telling the parent right now is that which university are you looking at? I mean, that is the question. And my parents here normally tell me, Lydia, how about if it is Makerere University? And I'm like, fine. Makerere University. We look at, so according to how you look at your child, do you think the child will go for science course or, but you know, always here, our schools here, almost the school fees is almost in the same range. What I only have to do is to add, say, hostels fee, and then accommodation, that's accommodation, then plus food and upkeep for the child. And then I look at a science course, say 2.5, and an art course, say 1.8. Of course, I escalate it like, if our child is joining there in the next 6 years, can we increase the school fees by, say, 20%? Normally 20 to 40%. Makerere and what? These other universities. And also, we give the parent a chance to also think of which dream school outside this country. Some people tell me Harvard, Oxford University, Nairobi University. Me, as long as you tell me about the university, I search about the school fees, how much they were paying 5 years back, and how much they expect to pay in the next 5 years. I plan. I'm your investment planner. I'm your savings planner. So I sit down with you, we plan. Makerere University, say 2.5 a semester, we escalate it, say we say in the next 6 years, maybe it could be 3 million a semester, times 2 semesters in a year, that is 6 million that we want per year, plus say upkeep of say 1.5 million, so around 7 to 8 million a year. I'm not talking for that person who is not going to save now. I'm looking at if everything is saved, a child is staying in a good hostel, the food is catered for, and everything. Say 7 million. And of course, we look at the courses. The highest course or the longest course at university is, say, medicine, maybe 5 years. So you now begin saying 7 times 5. How much is that? That is now how much we begin to calculate and say how much will be enough for the child every semester, upkeep and everything. To some people, they can as well say, I want my daughter at that time to be driving him or herself. Even the hostel fee, and now begin now counting the fuel, counting the car, how much will the child need. At that time, I think he's an adult, 18 years and above. So we begin planning together. As a risk advisor, as your insurance expert, we sit down and begin planning. And guess what? If we have planned, say, we shall need 40 millions to be enough for us. 40 millions in the next 6 years. Now we look at how much you're going to begin paying. I normally always encourage parents to pay, say, once a year or quarterly, 4 times a year, or twice a year, half a year, or even to those who are saying, me, I earn my salary, please deduct from my salary per month. We have the order with the bank, where whenever the salary goes to your account, as UAP, we shall deduct it using a direct debit. Every month, according to the date you will have advised, let's say, for example, 30th of every month or 28th of every month, according to how your employer pays you. Now, after that, should anything happen to you, dear parent, God forbid, people fear death, but here we have to talk about it. Everyone is going to die. But what we all don't know is the time for you. When are you going? When am I going? We don't know. And that's the reason we have got to anticipate about those particular risks. So you had a target of 40 millions, and maybe every year you're paying around 8 millions. And then something happens to you. After paying 1 year, the child is in senior 2. Yes, you had saved before. The money will be there. YEP will be paying. But how about that person who never saved before and he has just started the contract? Yeah, he or she has paid 1 year and our maker has just called the person. God forbid. Your child, yes, will mourn. My mom has gone. My dad has gone. But UAP will be there as the second parent. And that is what I always emphasize, that second parent is very important. The second parent this time is not the guardian of the child, is not the next of kin you had on the policy. This time, the second parent is the UAP, Old Mutual Life Assurance, where they will come and step into the shoes of the deceased, that person who was the client and he or she has passed on. We shall first send the condolences. Say, this was our client. We can now, if the target was 40 millions, we can bury that person with 4 millions. 4 millions is enough to give somebody decent burial. After that, we shall not expect any other guardian of yours to come and begin contributing to us money. If at all, we shall begin paying 12% of the 40 millions per year. You can also calculate by yourself and say, what is 12% of 40 millions? Is it 4.8 millions? So 4.8 millions. If your child was, say, at Green Hill, or was, say, at the Stone Ridge in Sasa, or maybe your child was, say, at Kaboja Junior School or at Kampala Parents, maybe where the child was paying, say, 1.5 millions. It means if UAP is paying 4.8 millions per year, your child will still remain in that very school that you had planned. Because if the school fees is 1.5 per term and UAP is paying 4.8 millions per year, it means UAP will pay 4.5 millions to that school for the rest of the term, 3 terms, and even the child has some balances. I know UAP has got to do that from senior to where you have left the child. Remember, a parent passed on. God forbid. But where the parent left the child is where UAP is going to start from paying for that child. So you can imagine paying 4.8 millions in senior 2, senior 3, 4.8, senior 4, 4.8, senior 5, 4.8, senior 6, 4.8. But remember, we still have our 40 millions that was our target. What UAP is doing right there is that as the second parent, it has got to maintain the child in school. That the parent paid 1 year, paid for only senior 1 school fees, he or she passed on. God forbid. UAP started from senior 2 up to senior 6 paying the school fees, and that one we call it child income benefit. So after that, we expect again UAP, Old Mutual Life Assurance, to also clear money for university. According to our calculation, the money for university, the 40 millions we calculated, we included school fees at university, we included the hostel fee, we included transport, we included food and the accommodation and everything. So that is when you simply sit on a certain bar on such an evening, sip on your 1 bottle of beer, and frankly say that I have really planned for my children's future education. Or I can just sit and say, I'm taking my glass of water. However, my sons or my daughters who are in a certain secondary school right now, who are joining senior 1, I am assured that my children will finish secondary school and my children will finish university. Why? Because I insured my children. Every year I was paying this a certain amount of money. If I happen to die, God forbid, UAP will be the second parent. And guess what? Guaranteed education for your child. So parents out there, you need to think, as you pay that school fee, think about that time when you will not be there. God forbid. Think about that time, or just think about people who are, for example, right now in Mulago, casualty. Enter there and see what happens there. Then you will know not to begin saying, oh, how will I get an accident? I mean, you may get an accident or you may not. We all pray for the good life. But even those people who got an accident, they also had plans. Their children right now you cannot know, because somebody is just there fighting for their lives. They cannot begin thinking of school fees, for university school fees, books, have they eaten food? I mean, people get accidents and they stop thinking from there. We have got people who are in Butabika. Those people also had families. Go there, go to Butabika and see what I'm talking about. The most serious people that you knew before, you find somebody in Butabika. Somebody are at home, educated, very intelligent, but they're in their wheelchair seated. Why? Because they cannot move. They can't move. They got an accident and they can no longer move. They're in their wheelchairs. And me and you can ask ourselves some questions that, for how long can your employer give you that sick leave? Meanwhile, you work maybe 6 months maximum. But they're already discussing, should we add her more months, or we should just, I mean, some companies, they just replace you there and then. So you can just imagine, if you have been a parent and you have not been saving anything, what can happen? Those are the cases where I hear that parents killed themselves. Parents hanged themselves, because as a parent, if you're a parent out there, we can know the pain that me and you can have if somebody is at home and no longer working, and you know that you can no longer work because of your health. You're in the wheelchair, even you need help. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the reason I normally talk about savings. We save for those rainy days. Rainy days does not mean that we are saving. Tomorrow, if there is too much sunshine, then we may lack food. No. Rainy days are those days where you're unable to fund, when you're unable to pay for food at home, when you're not able to pay for your rent, and the landlord comes and tells you, you know what, get out of my houses. The reason you cannot pay the rent, you're not working, you're disabled, you got an accident, you felt sick, you have cancer, you can no longer work. So that is why I've got the passion. I am a parent. I am also saving. For those people who would like to know and see exactly what Lydia is saving, I'm saving my little 20% of what I earn on a monthly basis. If I don't know that, I'm very serious with savings. Before my employer pays me